We on 18, 18. We on 18, 18. All about the semis. We on 18, 18. All about the semis. We on 18, 18, baby. All about the semis. We on 18, 18.
YouTube, what it is. It's your boy Q Deezy. Double it easy. Another episode all about semis. How about you out there, drivers? We'll do something a little different today. We'll do this in almost like a podcast style, without as much video. And you guys let me know how you feel about it. I think I want to have some stuff where you guys can just pop it in and just listen without having to see a whole bunch of footage. Sometimes some of these conversations don't need a whole lot of footage, so I want to have like a podcast feel too here. So gonna get us a shot. Gonna jump right into this, man. I hope you guys are doing good, staying safe out there as always. We're gonna talk about trucking as a whole. So this is for everybody. This is for my own operators, my lease drivers, my company drivers, whatever sector you may be in trucking. Now, with that being said, I know there's going to be a lot of people that may agree and may disagree with some of the stuff I'm going to say in this topic, but it's going to go along the lines with some of accountability and what is actually happening. So we all know that rates pretty much tanked across the industry right after the pandemic. Money was flowing left and right during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, and everybody got in, saturating the industry, if you will, with more trucks than it was work. When the rates started coming back down to normal rates, that $1.60, $1.80, what they were before the pandemic, everybody was talking about how the rates sucked and there wasn't no money out there to be made. And obviously, I can understand people feeling like that with having high overhead truck payments, things like that, equipment payments, trailer payments, etc., lease payments, whatever factor you may be in. But is trucking, dead, as some people say? Oh, trucking's dead, trucking's washed up, trucking's this, I'm getting out. My opinion on that part of it is, I think trucking is definitely strained, but my reasoning is more because of the lawmakers, things that they're putting on us truck drivers to make it harder for us, constantly raising the insurance, things like that. All these, across the industry changes on that note. Are the rates down? Absolutely. But there's still money out there to be made. And there's guys out there that are in dedicated situations that are still doing pretty decent. There's guys that are with companies that are really haven't really felt much of it because, they got a consistent pay. Your FedExes, your UPSs, companies of that sort. Now, here's the thing. We blame a lot on the brokers. There's a lot of shady brokers. Yes, it is. There's a lot of brokers taking more money out of the truck driver's pocket than needs to be. And to be honest, I really don't think that we really need brokers, but I can go into a whole other video about that. And I do think if we're going to have brokers, that they should have a unique situation in our industry, meaning that there should be primarily used as escrow holders. There shouldn't be a reason that I got to run a load and then get paid for this load 30, 40 days after. I think that these shippers, these companies should be paying drivers up front. And if they don't want to pay us directly, then the broker would be the one to hold that money, but it would be paid immediately when this load is booked. And then the broker would get a portion for that service. But the rate and everything was already negotiated between the shipper and the carrier. And that will eliminate a whole lot of, BS in between. But again, I can do a whole nother video on that. That's just my take on that a little bit. But yeah, there are some shady brokers out there. There are some, people doing some real crooked stuff. There's a lot of scamming in trucking right now. But understand, guys, we got to be accountable for what we're hauling. There's guys out here still making money. I still make money, even though I get stuck in Florida sometimes. But one of the things about it is you got to be accountable for the freight that you're pulling. Nobody is making you pull the freight that you are pulling. Nobody is putting a gun to your head saying that you got to take this cheap freight or whatever it is. And if you keep doing that and you're not being successful, then who's to blame for that? It's not all about just because the rates are down. Same thing to my company drivers. I see a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of YouTubers, content creators that are putting out information about these companies they're working for and how the companies are bad and this company did them wrong and that company did them wrong. Don't go to this company, don't go to that company. First off and foremost, understand everybody's experience is always going to be different, so you got to take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. Second is that you got to hold yourself accountable for the job you took. Do they lie? Do these companies lie? Absolutely. I am not taking that from anybody. But the minute that they lie to you, the minute that you go and run that first week and they have played with your money and you continue to run another week and another week, and I'm going to keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, who's accountable there? So now when things belly up and you're behind, it's the company's fault. You should have left a long time ago. I've worked for a company a week, and the only reason it lasted a week because I was under the load. If I could have got up from under that load and got on a plane in the state that I was in, looky here, I would have been gone. You hear me? In 2 days, because they already started showing me signs that there was going to be a problem. We are in demand as drivers. You got to understand that we are in demand as drivers. We can always find jobs. Provided you got a clean record, you can find another job. Don't get caught up wasting time with companies that are not paying you what you're worth. Don't pull loads, owner-operators, carrier owners. Don't pull loads that are not going to pay you. Like I said in my last video about running for fuel, don't run for fuel, because at the end of the day, you're hurting everybody. You're just compounding the problem that's out here, And if you're going to do that, don't complain about it. Don't complain about how bad something is if you chose to do it. That's the bottom line. And that accountability, we have to be accountable for what we are hauling. If we could just learn to stick together and stand up as drivers, we'll be a force to be reckoned with. But, that always seems to fall on deaf ears. Now, talking about the guys that are making it, I'm gonna tell you, there are guys out here that are making it, and a lot of the guys that are making it, I'm gonna tell you why they're still here and they're still making it. A lot of them, including guys like myself, are learning to do things on their trucks themselves. Okay, I'm not saying you got to be a mechanic, but you got to start learning how to do some of this stuff on your truck yourself. This is one of the reasons why I'm still around, because had I had to keep taking my truck, to get repaired for minor things, that is a big dent in most owner-operators' pockets, is fuel and repairs. I was reading a comment on another video where a guy was talking about, he's successful, he's still hanging in there. He has a couple homes and he's trying to work on buying his third home. His side thing was rental, but the money he was making from trucking was helping him to buy his rental homes. And he actually went into how he said, I'm able to do a lot of this because I've learned to do a lot of things on my truck myself to cut down my costs. That is huge. If you're going to keep taking your truck to TA and Love's for a belt to be changed or a headlight bulb out, or a mud flap, I mean, you figure you're throwing away $100, $60 to $100 to get a mud flap changed, and you compound that over the course of a year. Little things like that will be a big dent. You know, I know guys that will literally take their truck in for a headlight bulb and pay $80 for a headlight to get changed out. You know, I see guys paying, you know, $1,000 to get an alternator swapped out. I'm not saying that this is going to be the bill for everybody, but if you can do it, or you can learn to do it, or you're not scared to do it, you got to learn how to do some of this stuff. You know, I'm not paying nobody to change wiper blades on my truck. You know, I'm getting ready to put a windshield in and I'm doing it myself. Now, I could have had my insurance do it, but my insurance company did pay for it. So they got me the glass, got everything I needed, and I'm going to do it myself. Because I didn't want to put the truck down at the time. Neither here nor there. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. So that is a huge cost savings. I don't have to go too far into that. The more that you're able to take care of yourself or find other alternatives to taking it to the dealer, that's going to help, you know, for you guys. Company drivers, you guys ain't got to worry about none of that. But we can't sit here and say that, you know, the brokers are the reasoning behind the market being the way it is, or they're not, you know, certain drivers are not making money. I mean, certain drivers are not making money because of the choices that they made, the choices that they're still making. And if you got 1 foot out the door and 1 foot hanging on, you got to really look at and evaluate what it is. You know, yeah, rates are down across the country for everybody, but you can make it. And you know, that same guy, guys, he was talking about the one that said that he learned how to do a lot of stuff on his truck. One of the other things that he did say was that, you know, well, he finds that you make your money right now in this market by staying closer, which I've said that a long time ago. You know, I was like, hey, you know, run a little bit closer in. And for almost a year, remember, I wasn't even leaving Florida, but the rates tanked a little bit more and I had to. But what he said was he runs within 5 to 6 hours of his home base. He's not going no further than that. And I can understand how that is profitable because, again, less fuel, you find the best rates for the mileage that you're going to run, and you're always close enough to be close enough to your home. I mean, that's just a simple analogy there. When we start thinking about how to perfect what we do and be efficient at it, the doors will open up. But you got to open your mind to it. Do I know everything? No, I don't. But I'm learning. But a lot that I do know, I understand business and I understand common sense when it comes to certain things. I understand that I need a certain amount to pay my bills. I need a certain amount to run the truck. Company drivers, you need a certain amount of pay every week to be able to live monthly. And that's company guys too. That's owner operators too. So we have to understand that we know what we need. And when we know what we need, there's just certain things we're not going to take or touch. As I say, buck that. B-U-C-K, buck that. That's the wrong answer. I ain't doing it. So take these things into consideration, guys, when you start complaining about your situation. It's not always everybody else. Sometimes it's a choice that you make. Be accountable. Be accountable for what you're doing and then change it up. You ain't got to stay in it, you know, and don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about people talking about you. People gonna always talk about you. People talk about me all the time, you know. People always going to find a fault in the way that you do something, you know. Who cares? They're not paying your bills. So with that, drivers, you just heard a podcast all about semis. How about you out there? Keep all 18 on the black top.
Later.